And hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Tom Retro Chronicle. My name is Tom Wegner and I will be your loving host for this 40th episode of my podcast here on YouTube. And I am taping this on a very warm Tuesday afternoon here in Fargo, North Dakota. Pretty much just got back from doing an eye exam, however you like to call it. It was actually kind of bad. Wasn't that bad, but it was actually pretty good. But yeah. So pretty much got to that. I actually kind of enjoy going to the optometrist compared to going to a dentist or anything of that matter, of course. But yeah, pretty much I didn't really have an alarm for today, so I pretty much just slept in until about one o'clock my time. The appointment itself didn't happen until about a good almost an hour ago. So yeah, got to go cross the river to Moorhead. Of course, pretty much everyone should know how I feel about Moorhead and its beauty, especially trains and stuff. So yeah. So in terms of content for this episode of the Tom Retro Chronicle, I'm going to be talking about some Donnie Manziel, the controversy that he brings, especially what he brought to national TV last night. I'm going to talk about Michael Brown, the whole Ferguson thing that's going on currently right now in Missouri, and then I'll talk about my vacation plans that pretty much were solidified pretty much almost about 24 hours ago. So yeah, we'll talk about that as well. So sit back and enjoy. All right. So pretty much I'm going to start with the whole Michael Brown thing, and pretty much how it transpired from day one to pretty much today. Pretty much for most of you don't know that Ferguson, Missouri is pretty much a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. It's pretty much right in the middle of St. Louis, I believe. So it's pretty much in its own little interlocked suburb, and so pretty much it all happens Saturday, August 9th, which is about 10 days ago. If you're listening to this right now, pretty much that happened about around 11:48 a.m. An officer responds to a call of a sick person. Then pretty much about 3 minutes later, another call comes in about a robbery at a convenience store, which is appropriately called Quick Trip. Then about 10 minutes later, an officer encounters an 18-year-old African-American male by the name of Michael Brown. And he's basically with a friend. And basically Michael Brown gets shot to death by the officer as a result of the encounter. And yeah, then pretty much about 3 minutes later, pretty much a second officer comes in, and then pretty much followed by another supervisor. Then pretty much an ambulance comes in and comes to the incident of the shooting. And pretty much from that point on to pretty much until I believe until last Thursday, which was the 15th, I think. No, it might have been the 14th, but pretty much from that point on to pretty much until Thursday, pretty much it's been pretty much sort of riots going on in the streets, saying pretty much saying peaceful protests and stuff, and a lot of arrests, both from pretty much protesters. Certainly, a lot of media members were arrested as a result of what has been transpiring in Ferguson, Missouri. Pretty much, it's not really until pretty much the 14th where pretty much the governor of Missouri, Jay Nixon, comes in and basically makes his first stop and gives the people his take on it. And then pretty much about around Thursday afternoon, basically the Missouri Highway Patrol takes over security, and then it would be basically overseen by Captain Ron Johnson, and basically Ron Johnson is basically this person that is the middle ground between the protesters and the police. And essentially, he was pretty much it says here that he was born and raised in the Ferguson, Missouri community, so that definitely helps the cause as well. So pretty much it's not until August 15th that, which was last Friday, that Darren Wilson was named as the officer who shot and killed Brown on the 9th. And so basically he wasn't given any disciplinary action against him. So then pretty much from Saturday and Sunday, the 16th and the 17th, there was basically pretty much rioting, looting, basically overall chaos going on in the streets, and pretty much the whole reasoning behind that is pretty much the people's belief that in order for Michael Brown to rest in peace is until pretty much Darren Wilson, the person who shot and killed him, gets arrested and gets put into a fair trial and stuff. So, and pretty much there was a curfew that was issued pretty much from midnight to 5 a.m. in Ferguson. That was from Saturday and Sunday, and it wasn't until Monday that they decided to declare that there would be no curfew, that pretty much there would be okay and stuff. So then pretty much yesterday, Governor Nixon issues the National Guard to Ferguson after pretty much protesters threw Molotov cocktails at officers, looted local businesses, and carried out a coordinated attempt to block roads and overrun the command center and stuff. So, and it wasn't until pretty much about good 9-10 hours later that the first of the 3 autopsies would be released to the general public, and pretty much he wasn't killed in the back or anywhere in the back, but pretty much the front of the body was pretty much dealt with the most damage. Pretty much, according to the autopsy doctor, Dr. Michael Baden, pretty much according to them, pretty much about 6 shots or more were fired at Michael Brown. Pretty much one from the top of the head, one above the eyebrow, one just a little bit below the elbow, and pretty much one pretty much right above the elbow, and pretty much a couple of them from the pretty much looking at the diagram, pretty much the left nipple, pretty much above the left nipple there. Certainly lots of lacerations, lesions and stuff. So yeah, and pretty much last night was pretty much the first night with a no curfew, and pretty much it was pretty much a peaceful evening until pretty much according to what I thought was going on was pretty much once the police were decked out in riot gear, pretty much everything was slowly turning into another night of unrest and stuff. So, and pretty much the police were telling people to essentially, you can protest, but just as long as you pretty much keep moving, then that's going to be alright. But even that is kind of more of a bastardization of the First Amendment, in my opinion. But in fact, pretty much a lot of things about the First Amendment were pretty much non-existent. Pretty much last night, pretty much the press were only allowed to be in a certain area, and pretty much once things turned to hell, pretty much the media was not allowed to be anywhere near the area where the police was at. And pretty much it wasn't really until about 10 o'clock Central Time that pretty much things were starting to look pretty bad again. Pretty much police were telling people to disperse because they were unlawfully assembled, which even that just seems kind of strange in itself. But then there was pretty much an LRAD noise going off trying to dissipate people, but as far as I could tell, pretty much some people got the idea, but I don't think they really did. And pretty much from that point on, pretty much it was basically another night of tear gas, flash grenades, smoke grenades, being used against protesters, and certainly some media members were affected by it. So, pretty much, and that's pretty much from August 9th to pretty much today, which is the 19th of August. And pretty much my take on it is that you won't, I get the whole idea that, they want justice they want the killer to be brought to justice, but certainly it's a very difficult process to do. And pretty much in my belief that I think Wilson should be arrested and put on trial for what he did, because he pretty much went about his duty pretty much to a pretty much he went above the line. Above the line. I mean, pretty much it could have been anyone that really caused that disturbance in that convenience store. Pretty much it could have been someone else. But to shoot someone is this preposterous. I mean, if Michael Brown shot that officer, Brown would have been already arrested already by now, and pretty much he would have been probably put on trial, and it probably would have been sent to jail. But certainly that's not the case as of this point. So I think Wilson should get arrested. No doubt about it. So that's pretty much my take on that. Yeah. On to Johnny Manziel, and talk a little bit about his night against the Washington Redskins. It was actually a pretty good game once Manziel was pretty much put on the bench for the... well, actually, he wasn't really put on the bench at all, really, during the game, but essentially, Johnny Football went 7 out of 16 completion and attempts for 65 yards for a touchdown. Believe that is Connor Shaw who had the most yards passing for the Browns during the game. He went 8 for 9 for a touchdown for 123 yards, as I said before. Hoyer pretty much went 2 out of 6 for 16 yards. Pretty much most of the scoring pretty much happened for the Browns, pretty much happened in the fourth quarter, where the Browns put up pretty much 20 points out of the 23 points that they would score in the game. Pretty much looking at the Redskins, or Washington's team, however you really want to call that. I still pretty much call them the Redskins until pretty much until the league decides so. But anyway, well, off topic there. But for Kirk Cousins, it was a pretty good night for him. He went 12 out of 21 passing for 145 yards for a touchdown and an interception. RG3 went 112 yards for 6 out of 8 passing attempts and for an interception. And Colt McCoy went 2 for 6 for 73 yards for a touchdown and a interception. So pretty much the three Redskin quarterbacks pretty much threw a interception in the game. But pretty much the biggest controversy from the game was pretty much Johnny Manziel giving the Washington Redskin bench giving them the bird. And essentially, it's really unprofessional. Pretty much, and that's certainly pretty much a good $15,000 fine right there, pretty much. And essentially, if you didn't think that Johnny Manziel was anything but professional, pretty much your opinion has pretty much just changed quite a bit. So yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much going to be a good $15,000 fine from the league. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to really matter that much because ESPN pretty much loves Johnny Manziel pretty much by quite a bit. Basically, I don't know why the reason why they do. It's probably just because they just find I don't know, they just find him to be much more interesting character to be to have around because he's Johnny Football, and pretty much the only reason why ESPN is in love with the guy because he threw the dagger at Alabama, basically giving Alabama its only loss for the 2012-2013 season, and I still don't understand why they love the guy so much because he's not that good. I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna make it into the league. I don't think he's gonna do well, so to speak. I'm not hopeful. I know I'm not really hopeful for him. So, yeah. So, I'm not gonna be surprised by the next thing that Johnny Manziel does, and he pretty much. I think he's a clown, a coward. I think he's a spoiled brat. So yeah, there's that. Other than that, pretty much I have some very exciting news. I will be taking a trip to New England sometime in October, probably from the 12th through the 18th of October, pretty much that week of Columbus Day. So I will be probably not going to be making any episodes of the Tom Retro Chronicle during that time. Pretty much I'm going to be flying there alone, and I'm pretty much going to be going to see a family relative that I haven't seen for a good 4 years. That should be pretty exciting stuff there. We'll be pretty much going to see the foliage of New England, spending a couple of nights in Portland, Maine, probably a couple of nights in Boston, go sightseeing, go seeing the ocean. So it should be actually a pretty good time. Very good time. This will actually be my first real vacation that I've pretty much ever taken because I haven't really stayed in a job long enough to have vacation time and stuff. So should be a pretty fun time. Very exciting. I'm probably gonna be doing another episode. Probably not for. If there is anything going on Saturday, I probably might do something. But other than that, it's probably gonna be another week until I do another one. So we'll keep an eye out for that, so to speak. So keep an ear out. This will do for this 40th episode of the Tom Retro Chronicle. If you like the video, feel free to give me a like. If you dislike it, feel free to give me a thumbs down. If you want to show me how much you loved it, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to show how much you hated it, feel free to give me a comment as well. I pretty much take positive feedback, negative feedback, or neutral feedback as well. So I will probably see you all either on Saturday or sometime next week. Later.